me first of all say that I have a heartfelt and sincere thanks to a very eminent Santosh Singh ji. It is very rare that you do a book which Penguin has published. Karpoori Thakur has just got the Bharat Ratna, and he's already such a high placed journalist with Indian Express. Normal discussion chamber for such books and such scholarship is actually the high pedestal of India at times. But here we have today with us the very distinguished Santosh Singh ji. Let me tell you, how I discovered him is through a tragedy. In 2014, as you are mostly aware, that the reason why I am not at home with you is because I researched on the politics of education in India. I had just tied up my PhD work, my doctoral work, and I was very engaged and involved in the world of schools. My doctoral work, which I've been rereading for a piece that I'm doing, I've travelled nearly 400 schools in Bihar and Andhra Pradesh, the two states that I've studied. Soon after I finished this, and the euphoria of the academic world around me, literally the world around me, a tragedy struck a school in Bihar. And that tragedy was the tragedy of children having eaten a state-mandated meal, the midday meal, which is a state-mandated meal. And here I was, just a few years ago, I had spent a decade looking at the meals in various parts of this country. I sang the children's songs. I knew the menus in East Godavari, which school has which menu. I knew the names of sweets in Telugu, the Putareku, etc. Or Kishtayas Kaya. Children might enjoy the midday meal. For me to see the tragedy was tragedy of unknown proportions. And that was the time that all my friends, I thought I am a good scholar, so much work in education, a PhD from a top-notch university of the world, and I had written a lot on these issues. The press would be at my doorstep every day. I knocked for an article, I went to Gandaman, the school where that happened. I knocked the doors of the press that would be at my doorstep, at least from 2009-10, every day for an election. Each door shut, that I said, here's a tragedy. I want to write about it. I want to talk about it. Every door shut. Now, the next 15 days were moments of loneliness and times when I realized that when you want to embody the tragedy on the world's poorest children, just nothing is free, just nothing is open. But that's the time that I almost thought, oh, the press doesn't exist also. Now, just when I was beginning to think of this, I started seeing a series of field work-based articles on the Gandaman tragedy under the name Santosh. And I said to him, it's not just me. In that moment of loneliness, in that moment of grief, I discovered him through his body of work and through his style of work. Just nothing for Santosh Singh was ever the truth unless it came from field work, and field work with hands amongst the poorest in the state of Bihar. For many years I had that entire bundle tied up. Santosh Singh's pen would not relent, and I realized that there was power to his pen, to his thought and his ideas, relentless, to an extent where the state machinery, in fact the education secretary would ask me, did you go to that fieldwork area? I said yes. What's it like now? They were also scared of it. But relentless coverage by the pressmen, the guilty were tracked and put to. Now, that's how I discovered. Of course, after that, I kept in touch with his work. We got to know each other, we met finally. But I think the second moment was, and he's written many books in between, but then the ultimate untouchable of Bihar politics, Karpoori Thakur, many people remind me, oh, his caste was this, so he's in this category. I hear everything. But what I know Karpoori as is that he remained the untouchable of the art politics. But in 2024, there was a man called Santosh Singh who had decided to wield his pen again, and he had been at it. And he would tell me, Manisha ji, मैं ये लिख रहा हूँ. But I would tell myself, जब छप जाएगी तब देखो. Because it wasn't without reason that Bihar's politics would pay lip service to the man called Jannayak, but never ever think him worthy of the pedestal to bring him to print. The print was reserved for the high men of Indian politics, and discussions even in Delhi University on politics would not accept Karpoori as their own. So thank you in many ways for bringing Karpoori to his natural home now, which is his world of ideas. And having said these beautiful words about the thought and about the penmanship of Sri Santosh Singh ji, which always looks for the new idea, the counter-argument, the fieldwork, which can take you on. Let me briefly also narrate to you that Karpoori was family to me. He was a guardian to our family. I was at the Lady Shri Ram College of Women. In those days, very much a new scholar, just like you. In the final year, as I was passing out, I'd been encouraged to apply for a few college awards. One of them was something called the Principal's Award for being the best all-rounder, etc. And I was asked, what do you really want to do? And I said, I don't know. But there's a book maybe that I want to write on someone called Karpoori Thakur. Now, none of the committee members knew about Karpoori then, and they asked me why. I said precisely this reason, and I told them the reason. The reason was that when Karpoori ji had passed away, I think 88, 87, 88. That was my final year for undergraduate. And then we used to have that phone in which you used to put a 1 rupee coin and see the call. And my father had rung me from a public booth, and I had picked up the call in my hostel, and he had referred to me by my home name, and he had said, Mona, Karpoori ji nahi hai. I had a tear in my eye, but I had no one to share this with, because the world of India did not know who this man was. And I think today is an opening up of the world of Karpoori, his body of work, his ideas, and to bring it to where it belongs, to the young people who will shape the frontier of thoughts in this country. Now, social justice has today become a code word. If you're social justice, you are here on the political spectrum. You will realize it was much more than that. Social justice was simply struggle. Social justice may lie on the borderlines of power. Social justice challenges power. It challenges those in power, but social justice may not seek power. It's been many years, from 88 to now. Count the number of years it must have taken, but it is a long journey indeed for Karpoori to be discussed in what I think is a citadel of ideas in India, the Political Science Department of the University of Delhi. And I'm happy today that my man, Karpoori, is brought here to this public forum by none other than Santosh Singh ji. Now, before I request him to come here, I'd also like to very sincerely thank Dr. Rekha Saxena, who agreed immediately. Santosh ji, remember, spent his own money to be able to travel here, to speak to you, and Rekha for having agreed at such a short notice. Professor Madhulika Banerjee, who was juggling through many programs, and when I convinced her that the time is now, we must do it now, and that's so difficult to get Santosh ji. She agreed, and I had also, true to who I am, I had suggested that we have a college person, and Chandrachud agreed to be here on the, and many of you are, of course, worthy of being here and coming over to Nupa. Before I invite Santosh ji, I find many of the parts touching, but the parts that touch me the most are some of those that you must know. Page 86, 87 is called the Tajpur Tower, and it will tell you that